All right, let's get started. Today is Tuesday, August 30th, 2022. Call to order at 7:06 p.m. the Cohasset School Facilities Committee meeting. We will be using the Zoom platform pursuant to MGLC 30A Section 20B and Chapter 20 of the Act of 2021, permitting public bodies to conduct meetings remotely. If we have any votes, they will all be taken by roll call vote. So, roll call vote to start the meeting. Kathleen Burns.
Present.
Paul Kearney. Jennifer Lesky. Craig McClellan.
Present.
Martin Nee. Nan Roth.
Here.
Paul Schubert. And Douglas Schultz.
Present.
All right. First item, unfortunately, maybe Nan, you can help us with this. Jen was going to have a report about outside funding. I believe, I don't know, it was like 2 months ago, you and her visited Chris.
Yeah, Kathleen and I went and talked
Okay.
with Chris Senior in the town hall about
Okay.
possible outside funding. She took the notes. But basically, we talked about the other ways that people have found possible funding, and they are very limited. It's primarily funding comes from the state and from the town. But some of the possible ways are grant funding. People have to scour the grant possibilities to find that. Another perhaps possibly more lucrative way is corporate funding. There have been times when a big corporation like Apple or some other big educationally focused organization has funded parts of school projects, but often they have to do less with the construction of the building and more with what's in the building. Funding a language lab, funding a computer lab, funding a science lab. But we did have the discussion about whether there were people in Cohasset that worked for big biotech or computer companies that might be persuaded to include us in their corporate donations. I think we'd have to do some scouring to figure out who those people might be and who knew them and how we can make contact with them. But basically, that was the most promising idea.
Yeah. So
Most of the other ideas were not very fruitful or did not seem so. Some of the charter schools have been started at parent initiative. The major funding has come from cities and towns and the state. Okay. So that was all that our meeting was about in the very basic sense, and it was pretty discouraging.
Yeah.
It looks like our best hope is the state, and then if not, there should be plenty of Cohasset people that are in important positions in biotech, science, computers, might be persuaded to support some aspect of the project.
Okay.
I'm sorry, our meeting was not very hopeful.
Yeah, I kind of
So
figured that
I
was going to
really
be
have
the case.
a lot to offer. And Jen has notes, but I don't think they say much more than that. I talked with
One other
a friend
one
who,
other thing to consider that's been thrown around in other groups that I've been part of when we're talking about the prospect of building a new school is private naming rights. So private citizens could, if they've paid for 50% or more of the cost, and it doesn't have to be the school, right? So if you're building a $200 million school, it's not like someone has to give us $100 million, but you can break the school up
Mhm,
into someone could help fund the field house, right?
right,
So the new gymnasium, and maybe there's an indoor track around we perhaps we make a better indoor gymnasium, but either way, you have a field house, and someone might be willing to finance 50% of that portion of the project in exchange for naming rights, so that you have the Earl's Field House.
yeah,
I guess the rule is it has to be 50% or more that they provide. And I think that, I mean, look, that's sort of pie in the sky at this point, but I do think that there are people in Cohasset that are in the financial position to do that. Whether they have the interest is a whole different
right.
ask, but it's just something that people have been talking about. And Nan, I'm sure it was addressed in your meeting, but I just thought I'd throw it out there.
It was naming rights for both corporate, naming rights for individuals.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. I just heard you say corporate. I didn't hear.
No, I did just say corporate, but there are lots of wealthy people in Cohasset who might possibly be interested.
Sure.
So as part of the subcommittee on this, I did take the opportunity to reach out to some folks in this business through my own work. So I can give you a quick rundown on that if you'd like.
Sure.
Please.
So, and stop me if you know all this or heard it all, but I did mention that we had submitted a statement of interest in April. I'm not sure if everyone realizes, but they think we'll probably hear something in December. So I don't know if we knew that or not. The other thing was that given the condition of our schools and given the condition of the feasibility, given the feasibility study, they felt that we stood a very good chance, better than average chance of being invited into the MSBA program, and thought that we would probably make it in the first round. And these are folks who deal with the MSBA all the time. They build schools. The folks I was talking to were a owner's project management firm. One of the things they did talk to about the donations was that they said if there's any funding that's provided to, and this is from an MSBA perspective, is that any funding that we would get outside of MSBA would be deducted from the MSBA funding if it was for the project. So they would take, basically they'd ask, what do you got for money? And then they're going to give an offer of how much they'll contribute. And then based on us saying, well, we've collected X amount of dollars, they say, okay, then we're going to give you this money minus that, and you're going to pay for that part. They did say, though, that there could be donations made, but those would need to be made into the town's general fund. And I'm a little bit I'm not totally understanding what all that is, but there's apparently a town general fund. And they said if that was deposited into the town general fund, the town could apply the funds to the project. But by and large, they said that, the way that towns fund the balance of the project that's not covered by MSBA is through a bond. And that would basically be, they get the bond, and then they'd have, that would be added to all of our taxes for a period of time. And
Mhm.
did I lose you?
Oh, we hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. My screen just went blank.
No, I can still see you.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. I can't see anyone. So anyway, that was pretty much.
Doug, it might have just suspended. Like if you just hit a key, it might wake up. or maybe not.
We see you.
Let me try that. There you are. Thanks. Good idea. So I'm not sure how much of that everybody already knew, but that was basically the information that I got. Either of those folks, there's one of the, the woman who I spoke to is incredibly knowledgeable about this and deals with this, on a frequent basis. If we wanted to get further information from her, I'm sure she would be happy to come and talk to us about it. She's very knowledgeable about this, but the idea is that generally speaking, the MSBA, and they thought based on our town, knowing our town, they said, we were probably in the 25 to 30% range as far as a MSBA donation.
Okay. Thanks, Doug. That was really the only item I had. The other,
Jason, if I may just jump in to Doug's
Okay.
sort of dovetail on what Doug was talking about. I think I thought I had forwarded it to everyone on the committee about the
I got it.
issue with senior study. So the MSBA is actually coming to Cohasset at the end of September. I think a couple of you are participating in this walkthrough.
I'll be there.
So to Doug's Doug's point, that is a very positive development in terms of our prospects of being invited to participate in the core program. So it's part of a due diligence process where they come in and look at processes in the school, major components of the school, design elements, capacity issues, and just the overall condition of the school. So obviously they wouldn't be wasting the bandwidth doing that if they weren't at least considering us. So to Doug's point, I think that those folks that he spoke to were probably well informed, and I think that our chances are better than average given that development. So that's on September 28th, I think.
Yep,
I did
9 a.m.
send it out. It's an
28
email.
at 9 a.m. is what you wrote.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So I just felt like raising that. I think that was probably the most, I mean, we're kind of in a holding pattern until the MSBA sort of comes back. I mean, it doesn't make too much sense. I don't know that the town will have an appetite to do this without subsidy. And so it makes sense that we haven't, done too much as a committee until, other than getting the SOI in was a major step. And I agree with Doug that we'll know by December or towards the end of December. So I just want to share that with everyone. Just reiterate it. I emailed it, but just wanted to make sure everyone was aware of that.
Stole my thunder, Craig. That's what I was just going to say.
Oh, sorry, Jason. I thought you were
That's
saying that was
all
pretty much, I thought you were just about to say that's all that we had. So I didn't want to get adjourned.
No, the other item is I will be in front of the advisory committee tomorrow at 7:00 to discuss our SOI submission, what we've done up to this point, and kind of inform them of what's going on. I already gave them all the links to the study. I gave them links to all our previous meetings. So as far as I'm concerned, this is just touch base and let them know what's going on. I haven't heard what they really want me to say or do tomorrow, but they asked if I could be available. I said yes. So that's at, I think 7:05 is when they wanted me on there. So that was the only other piece of information that I had.
So Jason, what that may be about is this long-term financial planning committee that they've been putting together for Cohasset.
Yeah, seen that.
And I think that they're concerned about, they're probably trying to get details from you about how much we think this is going to be if it happens and the timeline. And I maybe be asking you those questions. I don't know, but I don't know. That's just my.
Yeah, I had an actual phone conversation with Rob before he put me on this.
Oh, okay.
I told him I could tell him what we've done, but I can't give any numbers. There are no numbers. So
pulling them out of thin air.
yeah, I mean, if I had a crystal ball, I mean, I'd be a lottery winner. But so yeah, I'll just tell them what we did. They asked for a copy of our submission, so I asked Dr. Sullivan to forward that on to them because I only have a hard copy. I didn't have a file to send them. So that is all I had. I didn't get any emails about anybody asking us for anything else. I don't believe we have any minutes because we didn't meet last month. Or does anybody have anything else?
I don't have anything else. I think the tour interview is good news.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move it.
So moved. I'll
Second.
second Nan's motion.
All right. Roll call vote, starting with Kathleen,
Aye.
Craig McClellan,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Nan Roth,
I.
and I guess Paul. I don't know which Paul you are, but hi, Paul.
Paul Kearney, hi. Hi, hi, everyone. How you doing?
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.